fellow Minecrafters, Gearsaw Studios here. Today I'm going to show off 1.18 Experimental Snapshot 6, the sixth experimental snapshot for 1.18. However, before I begin, remember, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. So, with that, let's investigate. Here we are on Reddit, and fortunately, this is a smaller change log, so I don't have to rant on for 3 minutes. There is no warden, unfortunately, despite what I said. It's just the blocks that got added to the Minecraft beta files. So, here's what happened. Tweaked placement of the new mountain biomes so they match the terrain better, and the temperature as well. So, there's less of the snow-capped peaks in normal plains, and the layers that go up to the peak of the mountain are less likely to generate on the actual peaks. In cold climates, the grove and slopes tend to start much lower down, while in temperate and hot climates, they start higher up. Tweaked biome placement to reduce the risk of cold microbiomes, such as a splotch of snowy tundra in the middle of a forest, which kind of looks like bird poop, which is what Henrik Nieberg said. It can happen, but not as often. Fixed an accidental change that made lush caves smaller and more fragmented. Now they're going to be a snapshot 4 generation again. Giant tree taigas and giant spruce taigas no longer count as cold climates. This means they're less likely to be mixed in with the snowy biomes, and they're more likely to be mixed in with normal plains and such, which has caused a small reshuffle of biomes. Slightly reduced the amount of water springs, increased the amount of underwater magma to increase the chances of finding air while diving. Cavier ocean floors. Aquifers under oceans and rivers are more likely to sink underground, which means you're more likely to find cave openings on ocean floors that actually lead somewhere. However, this means ocean caves at 0 to 40 are more likely to be flooded. This means you can also leave caves through the ocean. Underwater ravines are back from 1.13, using the new noise generation, so they're not going to look like the 1.17 ones exactly. Basically, they're just going to have more variation with the new noise, and the magma may still generate inside them. And a new mechanic change. Horses, mules, and donkeys follow players holding golden carrots, golden apples, and enchanted golden apples, which makes them easier to guide across deep rivers. Similarly, llamas now follow hay bales. And Henrik Nieberg wanted to end this post but realized swamps can now generate in dry areas. They couldn't with the last snapshot, which made sense, but that was causing some microbiome issues such as deserts. Now they're going to be less fragmented, and they're just going to be better now. With that, let's look in game. As you can see, in this ocean, there is an underwater ravine using the new noise generation. So, I'm in spectator mode right now to make this faster. The caves are now generating through the ocean floor, which is an absolutely amazing feature brought back. Over here you can see cave, but it ends. Although it has a barrier you could dig through, but you can see that the ocean caves are back and they're better than ever. But they still sometimes just get cut off abruptly, such as right here. Either way, still, they're back, and you might be able to go into one of these bigger caves. As you can see, some deep slate here, which means you can get some more ores. There is a chance that you could end up in a big cave, though, which is what it was intended to do. Over here in this mountain, you can see that the new mountain biomes are matching better together. As you can see right here, this is a nice lofty peaks, which means there's going to be less of these groves taking up the top of these peaks, which makes them actually have a real end. Along with that, they're meant to mesh better with the biomes that they're near. Although this isn't the best example, touching the plains grass like that, it's still an example nevertheless. Although I could find better examples later on, this is still a pretty good example of the new change that prevents peaks from being completely flooded with trees. Over here in these lush caves, you may have noticed in the last video if I was showing any lush caves, they were kind of fragmented. But here you can see that this is a pretty unified lush cave, which makes it a very nice biome to be in now. As you can see, it extends quite far, and it has all the clay you need, which makes clay significantly easier to get now with the lush caves back to their good old generation. Over here, there's a nice giant tree taiga, with a nice lush caves poking out of the ground. This has been changed to no longer be paired with cold biomes as often, and you can see on all sides, it is not touching any cold biomes, which means it's just not going to be super snowy for a rather temperate but chilly biome. Now it's going to be more like the taiga, where it's paired up with these other biomes such as the forest and the meadow. Either way, great change if you ask me. Although they said that they're going to reduce the amount of microbiomes, there's still a little bit of a microbiome here. Not that it's inherently bad, but it's still kind of present because it's rather fragmented from the main part of the biome. Either way, it's okay, but it could be fixed later on, which I think would be the best course of action. Also, this generation right here is utterly amazing, with this geode interrupting this ravine, and this going right down over here into the deep slate. And if you go far enough, it ends up in the mine shaft. Just some very nice generation over here, which is why Caves and Cliffs is probably going to make it down as my favorite update yet. Over here in the swamp, they have said that they've made it a dry biome. But I think they may have edited its settings a little too much because I don't think ice spikes are supposed to generate here. Along with that, it's also bordering the snowy tundra and snowy forest, which means I think maybe we should change it back. It's not the best look when you have ice inside your swamp. With the underwater caves back, now there's a chance for them to link up with normal caves. Although this isn't the best example, it's the best I could find. If you crawl through this little space, you can see that this goes all the way down, and it goes deep down into this nice cave with this dripstone, which means this is just going to be a good change now that you can explore the watery depths and make it into a normal cave at the same time. Although it's a little more of a side note, with the lush caves being less fragmented, azalea trees are more common, and I've encountered quite a few since I've started recording this video, which I think is a good change. Azalea trees were always very hard to find, which made the lush caves less interesting with their main features stripped away. But rooted dirt and the azalea tree are going to be more common. By the way, great terrain right here. Over here in this gargantuan ocean cave, they've increased the amount of magma that's supposed to spawn here, which means if you go exploring, you can find magma, which means you probably won't need a water-breathing potion as often in order to explore these. Also, copper mega vein right there. And this magma is going to generate kind of often. Over here, magma, and you could probably revisit that. No magma here, but it's increased a lot more, and the patches seem to be slightly larger too, which is another good change. I personally think this is going to be a very fun part of the game where you explore here and have to use magma in order to find ores without drowning. So, good job, Mojang. The final change in this snapshot is one that I've been waiting for quite a while. As you can see, these animals are following me when I hold this golden carrot, And if I hold the hay bale, the llamas come too. Which means if I hold this, I can guide my horses, donkeys, and mules across this river using a golden carrot. Because the rivers are now much larger and it was already a hassle to get your horse through, and this only makes it worse. Now there's a solution to that. Although they are a little slow, and who even uses llamas is another question, but it's still a neat thing that is in the game. Now, for my thoughts and feelings about this update, I think that this is an amazing update, but there are definitely some things that I'd like to see, especially the warden. The warden sounds very cool, and I want to see it added. As a lot of people also want to see it added, it's just such a cool, threatening mob that has some reason to guard this mysterious treasure deep underground, which I think is one of the coolest things ever in Minecraft. Along with that, there's a change that I'd like to see that's not directly related to caves and cliffs. Now, with the shattered savannas, they have that kind of dead grass, but on Bedrock Edition, they have the lush green grass of the jungle. I'd like to see the lush green grass of the jungle added to this shattered savanna. Makes it seem a lot more tropical and majestical to climb, rather than just some dead grass and a very tall mountain. So that's just something I'd like to see. But there are other things, so if you have any ideas, remember, comment below. I'd love to hear your ideas. But with that, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe. My latest video on the Snapshot stuff has gotten 300 views, my highest ever, so I'd love to hit that goal again. So remember, like and subscribe, it really helps me out. Take care, suggest what you want to see. Gearsaw out.